Many prisoners in America are denied privileges that we all take for granted. Some of these denied privileges may not be reasonable for a prisoner to have, while others seem unreasonable for them not to have. Take religion, for example. Muslims often grow out a beard following their religion, but some are denied even a 1.5-inch beard in prison. Even though beards hold no threat towards other inmates or guards, what would the world be like if there were no beards allowed? Go. Prisons often have an idea in a place where prisoners who follow rules can earn privileges, and those who break them will be punished. However, the prison system is set to protect the community and rehabilitate the inmates, not punish them. While some of these earned privileges are reasonable to be taken away with bad behavior, many privileges are never granted. Privileges such as rights to grow a beard, right to dress a certain way, right to order certain foods based on religion, or the right to even make a telephone call. People disagree with prisoner privileges solely on the fact that they believe prisoners should be punished. While this is true, the main goal of prison should be to rehabilitate, and this may be impossible when privileges are harder and harder to come by and easier to lose. Go. Prisons often have an idea in a place where prisoners who follow rules can earn privileges, and those who break them will be punished. However, the prison system is set to protect the community and rehabilitate the inmates, not punish them. While some of these earned privileges are reasonable to be taken away with bad behavior, many privileges are never granted. Privileges such as rights to grow a beard, right to dress a certain way, right to order certain foods based on religion, or the right to even make a telephone call. People disagree with prisoner privileges solely on the fact that they believe prisoners should be punished. While this is true, the main goal of prison should be to rehabilitate, and this may be impossible when privileges are harder and harder to come by and easier to lose. The news story tells us of how prisoners were denied of the privilege of receiving books, new underwear, and even birthday presents. The item which created the most uproar was the apparent banning of books. However, books were not banned, they were just placed in the incentives and earned privileges scheme. This is a seemingly pointless extra punishment. The measure was put into place without consideration of the positive impact reading has on the inmates. There is also so little purposeful and constructive activity in most of our prisons. It is bizarre that access to reading material should ever be seen as a privilege. Reading provides some form of hope and link to the outside world, as well as being a distraction of the daily routine in prison. I think most prisoners should receive more privileges than they now have, and a substantial number shouldn't even be incarcerated. I believe that privileges should not only be guaranteed and protected, but they should be easier to earn and, if so needed, taken away. We question what constitutes good behavior and what constitutes a privilege rather than an entitlement.
If you were a prisoner, state, prison, or jail facility, you would assume you have some privileges such as free time or downtime to relax outside yourself. But what are those privileges specifically, and how do they ultimately benefit you in the end? The answer is they do not. Sure, privileges are nice, but they could be ones that support or correlates with why you are in the prison in the first place. So my partner and I both believe that prisoners should not have that many luxuries.
We define the topic as an unnecessary luxury prisoners have that support the things prisoners do to go to jail. The central idea is that luxuries the person has contribute to why they were convicted. People disagree because the privileges help the prisoners cope when they are in prison, and that without them they would have nothing to do.
The affirming team believe that criminals should not have privileges while in jail. They are only hurting themselves by having these. Some statistics one statistic we found was from a comment on a poll proven by Debaye.org, and the comment is from a woman who has a husband in jail, possibly serving a lifetime sentence. She says some prisoners, like sex offenders, have free access to internet and magazines that are pornographic. The problem with that is that it could only encourage the prisoners, said pedophiles, to want the need to rape and kill people more as they went out. Another argument is that, according to an article by JaneSwapMag.wordpress.com, is that you have to take in effect the pay that comes with the privileges. Obviously, the privileges need to be funded, but the money that the prison gets goes towards the warden, the police officers, and food supplies for the prisoners' meals. Another one is from economist.com, and it explains the different degrees that some prisoners have depending on how far they've been. Some prisoners get more luxuries than others depending on like what scale they are, what degree they're on. So it really doesn't make sense to have more freedom over someone who doesn't. And the last one is from a county in Indiana, and it lists privileges and responsibilities that prisoners should take into account when they enter prison or jail. While these are reasonable guidelines and rules, they could necessarily be taken advantage.
While it is important for them to still be able to feel normal and comfortable, we believe they can't necessarily be trusted. The side could argue that it is taking away privileges altogether, but how can they really be trusted with said privileges?